this is Jeff Nager with AMD World Championship of Custom Bike Building. We're here in Sturgis, South Dakota. I've got an Indian with me. Actually, he's named Kiwi Mike, and he makes Indians. Mike, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Well, it's nice that you brought along this 1950 vintage Indian. Wait a minute. It's a brand new bike. Tell me about it.
This is a brand new bike. We manufacture them all brand new. So that's what we do is we like to bring the past to life and upgrade everything. So we've got the classic styling, but everything is superior. You know.
It's certainly a superior looking Indian. Let's talk about the front end. It's got that great balanced fender, but you're rocking it with a new type of aero glide. Is that right?
It'll be aerodrolic.
Aerodry.
Aerodrolic. So
aerodrolic, excuse me.
Like hydraulic, but aerodrolic. You know, this Indian introduced a hydraulic front end in 1950. Actually, it's a little bit before, and another model. But the first year they did it on the Chief. So their deal was they called it an aerodrolic because it's like you're floating on air compared to all the prior forks by the different manufacturers.
Well, it's a beautiful front end, but it's all 21st century internals, right?
Correct. Yeah, we've taken the classic style, we've given it the taper upper forks, the covers. We've made them all, instead of being flimsy sheet metal, we've made them out of billet aluminum, and then we've got some stepped in the lower leg, gives it classic style. And we've put all modern valving in it, so you've got a hell of a front end that actually works.
Not only does it work, but it stops well. Tell us about the brake system.
You know, today everybody wants motorcycles to go faster. And this bike here, we've set it up with a 4-speed overdrive transmission and it's synchromesh. So now we can, you know, cruise 70, 80 mile an hour. Well, that's fine, but people still don't take into consideration braking. It's one of those things that's on the last on the list of things to do. So,
but it's the first thing on your list when you're trying to stop.
Yes, and it's one of the first things. From an engineering aspect of motorcycles, you know, I look at everything as from an engineering aspect and safety. So we like a 10-inch rotor. It's not as intrusive or as big as what's typically found on the market, the 11.5s. So we make the 10-inch ourselves. You know, a nice little narrow hub. But we love brakes. We love to stop. We love to go fast, and we like to stop fast.
Very good. Now, it's the tank itself is really a classic Indian tank. Tell me a little bit about that and the shift linkage. What are we doing there?
Okay, this tank is we manufacture. Actually, we take great pride in manufacturing everything ourselves. The frame on the bike, we manufacture it all ourselves. Every single part of that. We start out with American-made DOM straight tubing. From there, we bend it in our jigs and our fixtures, and it's all fabricated in our own shop. It's lighter than the original. It's about 25 pounds lighter, and it's stronger. Gas tanks, likewise. We have the stampings produced, and we weld all those. You know, from the easiest part is the stamping. From that point on, I mean, you've got a lot of fabrication that goes on in tanks, and tanks are a safety issue as well. So they've got to function, and you don't want leaks and you don't want explosions.
Absolutely. And I see that we've got 3 caps there.
Left tank, we got 2 gallons. Right side, we have 1.5 gallons. The front portion of that tank is the oil tank. It's a dry sump system, meaning the oil is not held in the engine, it's held in the front section of the gas tank. That way it's got cool air running on it all the time. So that's a nice little feature. There's another model we're going to be doing. It's going to be, you know, my own one. I like to tour. I like to do a lot of touring, go long distances. But we're going to change the oil tank from there and then put it under the seat area. So the challenge is always hiding things, making it look nice, and also being functional.
Let's talk about the engine. It does look like an original Indian engine, but it's got all the upgrades, everything you need to run many miles down the road.
Yes, the engine, I'm very, very proud of the engine. It's an American-made engine. I manufacture it. I've had my hands in every single design aspect of it. From superior crankcases. I sat down, I remember being had my sheets of paper on garage floor, just being cut off from the rest of the world just for days on end, just thinking of all the modification I needed to do to the cases, but make sure that it's going to calculate out to be right. Engines is what I left school and started to do, is engine building, so it's a very much a soft spot with me. It's a very well engineered engine. I build everything to be durable. We can always get more performance out of things, and we do go to Bonneville and race where we haven't found that breaking point, but when you're building stuff for others to enjoy, we're looking at durability, we're looking at better performance, which that's where we get an 84 cubic inch. We've upgraded some cams, we've upgraded all the metallurgy on every single component of our engine.
And how much horsepower does this make?
I always like to talk in the terms of torque, because that's what V-twins produce. Horsepower is really, people talk horsepower, but it doesn't mean anything in a V-twin.
It's torque that means something.
We're putting out, in its current state, around 60 foot-pounds of torque, and that's going to be going up here real quick. We're going to Bonneville, we're going to be going on the dyno, so I can't tell you what those figures are, but we're going to be dramatically increasing torque, but at the same time, we still want to look at the longevity, durability of our components as well.
Well, as you mentioned, everything is built in-house here. It's all manufactured out of California. Tell us a little bit about your business itself. You also, I know that you sell parts as well as used Indians as well as ground up Indian motorcycles. So give us a snapshot.
Okay, yeah, we started in 1988. We're a parts company. So being a parts company, I've had my hands on designing around 3,000 different part numbers for Indian motorcycles. Got to understand the motorcycles very well from an engineering aspect. And then through that, we've gone on to developing new engines. From there, we developed our leaf spring fork. And then we thought, hey, you know, what about if we make frames? Now we can be a niche market motorcycle manufacturer. And that's what our drive is. I love the style of Indians. I love being creative. I have terrific guys that work with us. My son's coming on board now, so he's had his hands on this at 17. So, you know, there's a lot of satisfaction. Being a former New Zealander, you know, I've always taken pride in manufacturing, doing stuff with our own hands. That way, there's several reasons. It's satisfaction. That's number one. Number two is quality. We govern the quality, and there's nothing more dear to us than quality. You know, it's good to say that's made in New Zealand. Good to say that's made in America, but I've certainly bought my fair share of crap. I like quality made in America, and that's what is our driving force.
Well, as we move back towards the end of the bike, one of the things that I like seeing is the rear suspension, and it's a design Indian came up with many years ago, but it gives you that kind of a hardtail look, but it's a suspended rear end.
Yeah, it's Indian called it a sprung frame, introduced it in 1940. It's a big year. Had suspension on an American motorcycle. Oh my gosh, it doesn't look like much, but it actually works very well, very effective, and it keeps the wheel in contact with the ground, and it gives you a very nice ride. The other nice thing about it is you've got a seat that's fully suspended, so it's got.
So you're double up on your suspension.
Yes, absolutely. You actually got your suspension here. You can't get a better ride on a motorcycle than this. That and that rear suspension, it's the Cadillac.
Well, you know, when I look at the bike, the four things that really stand out in my mind is the engine, of course, the fenders, and then the seat, and that really makes an Indian for me.
Yep, definitely.
And you make an outstanding piece of machinery here. If someone was looking at your motorcycle and would like to get a hold of you, maybe for some parts or a ground up, what's your website and your telephone number?
Okay, our phone number is 951-780-5400, and our website is www.kiwiindian.com. That would be Kiwi Indian.com.
All right, well, there you go. It's a great looking piece. Mike, good luck in the show.
Good, mate. It's just nice to be here around there's no better show in the world. There's no better recognition than being here. This is world class. I mean, it's world class builders. It's world class everything. It's just so much excitement. It's like no other show in the world.